Now I should be over there, but there's a creek over here. Oh, g'day. Because if you're lost in the hot Aussie bush one day, then a map's a very handy thing to have. But what if you're lost one night and you don't even have a torch? Well, here's a bright suggestion. Look up at the stars. You see, the sailors have taken their ships around the world for thousands of years, even without compasses, just by following the stars. And the reason it works is simple. You see, the stars follow the same path every night. Who am I? No, not me. You know who I am. Let's talk about somebody famous. See if you can guess who this person is. Here's the clues. I was born in England, but I wasn't famous there. I wasn't famous at all when I was young, but quite famous when I became old. My name was Maria, but I was never famous as a singer. My husband's name was one of the commonest names in England, but I was associated to becoming famous for something that's to do with France. Have you guessed it yet? I wasn't famous because of my children, but I was certainly a famous grandmother. Come on, get in there. Oh, just fixing this thing for the wife. I mean, this round stick thing is sort of come loose, and I'm supposed to put it in this hole at this end, shove it all the way through, and it's got to come out this hole at that end. But the trouble is, by the time I get it in there, it's made everything inside black, and I can't quite see where it's got to. Sometimes I've thought it'd be really neat if you had eyes on the end of your fingers and you could just put them up there right to the hole and have a good look to see where it went. Could save you a lot of trouble, I reckon. In fact, having eyes on the end of your fingers could have a few advantages. I mean, take for example if you were a policeman. You could shove your finger around the end of the corner, see if there's any bad guys. You like riddles? Try this one. What is it that you've never seen before? Everybody can see today, but you'll never see again. Do you give up? Well, here's the answer. The humble little peanut. Or not what's the outside. Let me break it open and show you what's inside. I'll take out one of the nuts, and you've got to agree, you've never seen it before, but you can see it now, and tastes good. You'll never see it again. But look at all the great things that we can actually make out of this humble little peanut. Did you know that we owe most of our modern uses for peanuts in the Western world to one man? Surprisingly, he always gave the credit to somebody else. G'day and welcome to Australia's East Coast. It's a great place to be. Sun's coming up, tide's coming in, temperature's great all year round. Why don't you come and visit us sometime? But it's not just a pretty place. On this beach you'll find a clue as to how we solved a puzzle that had plagued mankind for several thousand years. What was the dilemma? How to name plants and animals accurately, scientifically. Now we've got plant names like asparagus that go back several thousand years to the ancient Greeks. Now they were pretty clever, but they never solved this naming problem. And by the way, have a look at these. Now most of these are called arc shells, and the man who solved the naming problem was called Carl von Linné. Now he first studied these around the Mediterranean, and in fact he called the first one Arche Noah. Now you've guessed it, he named it after Noah's Ark. Walking through the Australian rainforest can be a good day's exercise, and look at the beautiful lush forest. So green, it's actually like this all year, winter and summer. Eat your heart out, all you cold countries. And there's some really beautiful little plants here as well. Look at this little tassel fern. Now it's not actually a fern, but the name's stuck and it's too late to change it. And it really makes a good little pot plant. But tassel ferns have got a hidden family secret. There's nothing like water lilies in a pond to create a calm and beautiful, relaxed atmosphere, particularly in a busy, bustling, noising world. But you see, water lilies are not just beautiful, They're a great example of engineering design and a real headache for the theory of evolution. Beautiful flowers, don't you think? And the evolutionary theory says that flowering plants evolved on the land first and somehow came back into the water. But a quick look at the flowering plants on land tells us there's no way that could be possible. Look at these beautiful roses. I mean, the shape, the colour's just magnificent. I think I'll pick one for my wife. There's a good one. Oh, good grief. Have you noticed that roses come with a setback? They've got thorns. I guess you could get the old secateurs out and cut the thorns off, but that'd be a real pain. Actually, rose breeders have been trying to get rid of the thorns for quite a while. And a few years ago, thornless roses started to appear on the market. But they came with a little certificate, and it said, "We guarantee these roses are 95% thorn free." Now what that really meant was that if you kept on planting the roses, sooner or later you'd get the thorns back. Now if you want to understand why they came back, you need to go to a most unusual source. These days, if you want to get ahead, you need to have brains. But some days, if you want to get ahead, it pays to just go and dig one up. Like the skull of this Cro-Magnon man here. Now, he was originally found in a cave, so that qualifies him as a caveman. Have you noticed how the textbooks and the telly programs like to give you the impression that us computer-age people are smarter than these guys and we've evolved bigger brains? Well, it's easy to run a test on that. You see, when you turn the skull over, you find out he's got a big hole in the bottom of the head here. Of course, you do need a bit of chewing gum so you can stuff up the holes where his eyes were, and we've got to keep him watertight, or sand-tight anyway. This is not a boomerang. Ah! Chop that mosquito clean in two. This is a killing stick. Now, if you come to Australia and you see somebody pointing one of these at you, can I suggest you run, or you duck, or you hide? You see, the Australian Aborigines were really good at hunting their game with this, but it's not a boomerang. It's a killing stick. I brought a boomerang with me. It's in here somewhere. You see, that's a boomerang. Now, boomerangs are the ones that come back. Now, the Australian Aborigines weren't the only people to use boomerangs. You can find them in Poland. The American native Indians used them as well. But the Aborigines were amongst the last people to keep using them, and boy, were